On the morning of May 23rd, 1934, a stolen Ford V8 rolled down a quiet Louisiana road. Moments later, 130 rounds tore through the car, ending the lives of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about who Clyde and Bonnie were, their childhood, how they grew up. So Clyde Chestnut Barrow was born on March 24th, 1909 near Tellico, Ellis County, Texas. He was the fifth of 8 children in a very poor family. I know they were farmers. They were tenant farmers who struggled to survive with a period marked by drought, unstable crop prices, and worsening economic conditions. So the Barrows were not criminals. They were actually hardworking, devout, and deeply impoverished. So their family, they had good family morals starting off. So Clyde was not introduced to a criminal family.
They were all very close together, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And like, I remember reading about it. He was super into music. It was his main focus of his childhood too.
Yeah, he was. I remember reading that.
Yeah, I remember reading also that like his older brother Buck was like the first one to get started with crime, and then he kind of like inspired Clyde to like also be criminal.
So I think that Clyde wanted that money and wanted kind of that position, but he didn't have the means to get it. You know, he was just put at a lower start than everyone else.
He also got really sick when he was a kid, right?
Really? I didn't know that.
You didn't? So he had like gotten like extremely sick. I think it was when he was 7. He had like gotten super sick and like couldn't do anything. I think it like affected his growth and stuff like that too through his early ages. And then they had went and watched like a movie. Did you guys hear about that? Like they went and watched like this like Wild West type of movie, and he like got super infatuated with like the crime part, and then that's when his like crime actually started.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Because I heard he, when he was 14, he wanted to go into the Navy, but they turned him down.
Right.
So that's probably, you know, him wanting to take that leap, but he wasn't able to accomplish it. So that's just another reason why he turned to crime. Yeah. So reports viewed Clyde as quiet but clever, deeply loyal to his siblings, especially his older brother Buck, which I think is the one that he kind of idolized almost. He was musically talented, played the guitar and saxophone, and fantasized overall about a better life. So, teens and his first kind of crimes. So, Clyde struggled to find steady work. He drifted toward petty theft to try and help his family survive and imitate his older brother Buck. Clyde's early crimes were mild compared to what he later became known for. So he first was arrested for, I think, something with his car.
I think car theft. Or no,
it was a rental car.
It was a rental car.
He never returned
a rental car.
That was what he was first arrested for.
17?
I think so, yeah. But he also was in trouble for stealing turkeys. That was a big thing.
Oh yeah, with his it wasn't his brother, was it? No, it was his brother. They had stolen turkeys and they were planning on selling it.
Yeah. So a lot of like petty crimes.
Yeah, stealing scrap metal, minor car theft, cracking safes that didn't really hold anything of value. So just kind of doing what he could. So we're gonna talk a little bit about who Bonnie was. So her full name was Bonnie Elizabeth Parker. She was born October 1st, 1910 in Rowena, Texas. She was the second of 3 children and grew up in a working class family. When she was just 4 years old, her father suddenly died, leaving her mother Emma to raise the children alone. So I don't think she had the best, like she wasn't as high up, but I definitely think she was still doing better than Clyde's family off of that.
And I remember reading like that she was like a really bright, smart kid, and like she loved poetry and performing, which I guess like later on showed because like she wrote poems.
Did you see the other stuff that she got into when she was a kid? Like I guess so she was like super rowdy and out there, but like she had also gotten into like trouble. Like she set a barn on fire when she was a kid.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, like did a bunch of like kind of out there things. So I think it kind of hinted at like her getting into trouble when she was older.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to like when they met. Like all the sources keep saying Clyde didn't turn her to crime. She was already there. You know what I mean? So she was already in that kind of mindset, which just like made them that much more like together.
And like I feel like growing up without a father probably also affected like her life.
Yeah, for sure. So Bonnie's teen years in marriage. So at 15 years old, she married Roy Thornton, a fellow student. The marriage was troubled almost immediately. Roy was involved in petty crime and frequently disappeared for long stretches. They separated within years, but Bonnie never officially divorced him. She was still wearing a wedding ring at the time of her death. So
that's
she was
so
wearing his
interesting.
wedding ring
Yeah,
at the time of his death?
even though Bonnie, which I think is interesting that she didn't gravitate towards him because he was like in petty crime. Because Clyde was in petty crime and that didn't turn her, that didn't turn
That
her
is
away.
kind of weird.
Yeah, so I guess it was just like not an attraction kind of thing, I guess. I don't know.
What interests me, her husband, he was in jail when they met for murder.
Really?
So that probably didn't help her crime spree either.
No, I'm sure that added on to, because she had that wild streak, like we said, so that just probably fueled everything, I guess, like seeing the way she was kind of like made up, so. So with Roy gone, Bonnie lived a quiet life. She worked at a waitress, stayed close to her family, continued writing poetry, but always dreamed of something bigger than an ordinary life, just like Clyde.
Yeah.
So they both had the same type of dreams and the same type of like the want and need for something bigger, I guess.
I think I remember how she ended up getting back to Clyde. So she probably would have ended up with Roy, but he had a really bad drinking problem and he like left her.
Yeah.
Like just disappeared. And then Clyde had come along because she was at her friend's house because they had broken their arm. And Clyde had walked in and she had seen him in his like nice new car that he had just stolen, and she was like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Because he had like just stolen the car and he was in that car too.
Because they met January 1930. They met at a mutual friend's house in West Dallas in their basement. And accounts say they had instant chemistry. They were both young, attractive, and searching for something bigger. So I guess that's kind of like what happened. And I do have a source. Let me find. So my source from the Medium describes the two as twin flames. So immediately it was a connection that went beyond mere infatuation. It was marked by an undeniable attraction and a sense of recognition upon meeting, as if they were destined to be a part of each other's lives. So I guess like it was just something different than her first type of husband, even though like he left her, so obviously it wasn't gonna work. But I guess, you know, they still said it was an estranged marriage, so I guess it was just something bigger, like kind of connecting them together. Okay, so shortly after the meeting, Clyde was arrested for auto theft. Bonnie visited him in jail, and in a moment that foreshadowed her future, she smuggled a gun into Clyde, helping them temporarily escape. So that was kind of like her first major illegal act that she ever committed, and it was to help Clyde, I guess. Yeah. So that was just another thing. But as soon as he got out, Clyde was soon captured again and sent to East Ham prison. This moment is often considered the turning point for Bonnie. Her first criminal act was done out of love and loyalty.
This point, it was probably the turning point for both of them.
Yeah,
in the crime that they were making, because of how he was treated at East Ham.
Because when he was in East Ham, he was sexually assaulted in prison.
He got off 2 of his toes in prison. I read that.
To get out of work.
Yeah, and he was just like really abused by the like fellow prisoners and by the like police.
How long was he in there for? He was there for how long? Because his mom, I think
he was paroled in 1932. So I think it was around maybe less than 2 years.
Around a year.
Around a year, I'd say.
Yeah, because his mom was going to the courthouse like daily, basically like berating them on letting him go because he was so young being there.
Yeah.
Who did he end up meeting in prison that helped him?
Oh, he met.
What was his name?
I remember that he
it was
met
like
2 guys that ended up in his gang. Like, later on.
It kind of like helped because the members of the Barrow gang were Clyde, Bonnie, Buck, Blanche, Raymond, W.D. Jones, Henry Methvin. Yeah, and that was like the group together.
So he met 2 people in the place, right? So one of them's name was Scaly. He's there forever. Like he's not getting out of there, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that helped Clyde. What was his assaulter's name? The guy that like would assault
the one
Clyde.
that he killed.
Well,
like out of self-defense.
Yeah, that was the one that he killed, but he didn't take the blame for it. Scaly did.
Because he was never gonna get out.
Yeah.
So
He was like, I'll take the blame for it.
Yeah. But all we know is that he left prison tougher, angrier, and determined to never return. Many historians say that Clyde wasn't fully, he wasn't that violent, including towards others, until prison. So it was definitely what shaped him to become an outlaw. So
because he was like starved, beaten by the guards,
it was
and all
horrible.
of that.
Yeah.
He was so abused.
Because I definitely think like now when we go to prison, like our main goal is to reform. Like that's our main goal for prisoners, is to reform their actions and take time to think.
Right.
But during this time, including during the Great Depression, I don't think
That was the case.
that wasn't the case.
It was more they were
more
like
punishment.
using.
It was a punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a power trip
It
for
was using and
the.
abusing.
Did you guys did you guys read how he was when he got out eventually? Like once his mom got him out. What I had read was he had gotten out and he was fine for like, so he like genuinely wanted to go back to work. He was like, all right, like,
Oh yeah.
if this is it, then this is it. I'll go back to work. But he couldn't because the police would like basically like berate him for nothing. Like he wouldn't do anything, and
They would like show up at his job.
like,
So it's kind of like they backed him into a corner.
yeah,
type
they wouldn't
thing.
let him work.
He
Like
had nothing to
he
do.
couldn't
That was,
hold anything.
yeah.
So during this time, it was like in the middle of the Great Depression. So like there was a lot of crime and stuff just because of the like economic desperation and all the unemployment going on. And I have a source from history.com that says during the Great Depression, with much of the United States in poverty and unemployment, some Americans found increased opportunities with criminal activities. And then it also said that a lot of Americans had lost confidence in the government and in like the police and in banks and stuff. So like they kind of saw the daring figures as outlaw heroes. So that was interesting how like the public kind of viewed the fugitives as like heroes instead of thieves.
I do think that's interesting because like at this point it wasn't necessarily like totally violent crimes, and I feel like it gets to a point like if a rebel, like you know how everybody's like the Louvre crimes right now, you know how everybody's kind of like well, not just making a meme out of it, but they're like go you, like whatever, you know, because it wasn't violent, like it didn't harm anybody. And I feel like as long as things don't harm others, people can kind of like, including during this time period where people were like starving and in horrible living situations, I think people kind of felt like inspired to do like whatever they could to get out of that situation.
And like an underdog story.
And they were also getting what they wanted from it, which was fame. Like they both wanted like to be popular.
They wanted bigger
names
lives
known and stuff like that.
For sure. I definitely think it was like you said, underdog type of thing. Everybody wants to see the underdog succeed. As long as it doesn't include violence, I feel like everybody wants to see that.
Yeah. Or like if it includes violence towards people that like are
bad.
Common enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like
agree.
the Luigi Gioni thing.
Yeah.
Where he killed the United CEO.
I think that was like in my notes because it's like very similar.
Yeah. So after Clyde's release, he and Bonnie began traveling together. Their goal was to steal money, assemble enough weapons, and return to East Ham and free other prisoners. So that was definitely a type of like, he was going against the prison system that created him to be who he was. You know, it wasn't necessarily like all about the fame that he wanted. Because he never saw himself as a famous outlaw. He saw himself as a rebel against a prison system that he believed destroyed his life. Because in a way it did, you know, like including all the prisoners, or not prisoners, the police showing up and like taking away his job and career and all that stuff. Like it made him who he was.
Yeah.
He like, I also read like he wanted his name to be kind of like feared. Like he wanted people to respect him, like not treated badly and stuff. So I imagine that's how he grew up. Poor, not respected, authority always over him and stuff like that.
He wanted to gain that. He wanted people to know, including what other prisoners did to him in prison. He wanted them to like fear him. You know what I mean? Like know who he was for sure.
The media portrayed them so much differently than what they actually were. Like I guess like Bonnie, they portrayed Bonnie as like this like ruthless kind of like woman that was a part of this gang.
Because they found that picture of her,
yeah,
like holding up the gun and the cigar.
But
and all
she was
that
the
stuff.
exact opposite. She hadn't shot anyone. She didn't like the gun. She was scared of them. She like didn't do anything. But she loved the fame that she was getting from.
Yeah, for sure.
And the excitement.
Yeah.
Because it was just like once again like they were nobodies, and they were finally somebodies. You know, like having their name feared and everybody knowing them was the initial like the goal type of thing.
And like the media played a huge role in that.
I think the media is what kept them going in their crimes because they were getting the attention. Like if the media hadn't said anything, I don't think they would have done all the crimes.
Because it's the newspapers. They called them a modern day Romeo and Juliet, killer sweethearts, the glamorous banded couple. But that just, I mean, in reality, that wasn't really the truth. Like obviously they were lovers on the road fighting crime, which is, I mean, that's pretty cool. But they weren't living this high life. They weren't doing what everybody said they were.
Yeah, they honestly did not look luxury at all.
No. They were just like a young, attractive couple.
They would seek refuge at like farmers' houses and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like what started like the media saying that like it was this whole glamorous thing was when those pictures like were developed and started like in newspapers and stuff. That was for like the Joplin raid, I think.
Yeah.
And they were found in the apartment.
Yeah.
I feel like that started like a lot of the media.
Oh, absolutely. And I know Bonnie was injured in a car crash. In 1933. A battery exploded, burning her leg, and she couldn't walk for months. But despite this, they were still like loyal to each other, like just proving their love for each other.
Do you like so like they had crashed and a farmer had come out to their house and he had like brought them in and was like, we need to get her to a hospital, she's gonna die. And Clyde was like, no, I'm not taking her to a hospital. And she also said like, and I'm not gonna turn myself in, like I'm just gonna die by Clyde's side if that happens. But the guy didn't care and he called the police anyways, and they had outgunned the police, I guess, put the police in their own handcuffs and then left.
Which is crazy.
That's
so
at the
crazy.
farmer's house.
Yeah.
While she was
Which is
injured.
wild to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Because I know Clyde had killed multiple law officers in different shootings and stuff like that.
Up to this point.
He had like killed multiple.
And his first killing was the guy in the hospital, or the guy in the prison. Like they had robbed that musical, or not musical, that like music store or whatever, like bank robbing, and they shot the guy in the chest, and he had like knew the guy. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I didn't read about that.
He was, since Clyde was like into music when he was growing up, he knew these people. It was like something, I forget the name of the store, but he didn't want to go in because he knew the guy, and so he sent, it might have been Hamilton or the other one of the other guys in the gang, and he went in and had the guy at gunpoint, and the store owner like reached into the safe and instead of bringing out money, grabbed a gun, and whoever was a part of the gang that was in there shot him straight in the heart, and he died immediately, and then they left.
Wow. And it was someone that Clyde knew?
Yeah. He was trying to sell him. And I guess Clyde just didn't really care. He just kept moving on.
Yeah, I feel like weren't most of the people who he killed cops?
Yeah.
Some of like all the cops like
out of the 12 people, I think 9 of them were cops.
Yeah.
Because I think he kind of just, his main goal was to rob and get money. That was their main goal, and anybody that passed in the process was kind of like part of it. Or
Like I feel like
trying to
all like
escape
the trauma
cops.
from the prison and stuff also like probably made him more violent towards the cops.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So in their crimes, Clyde and Bonnie, they liked to steal the Ford V8s because they were powerful and they were strong. And this is how the FBI got on their case, because a Ford V8 was found in Michigan that was stolen in Oklahoma. The FBI, once you cross state lines,
it's across
it becomes a
the
federal case.
Yeah.
And so that was in 1932 when they found it. And that's what got the FBI on their case.
Well, I definitely think like what it is, there's always a miscommunication with like different police forces, including during this time when electronics and cell phones were involved. So they're definitely like, that was probably one of the reasons why they were never caught, is because of the miscommunication between the different like departments and things like that. So once the FBI got involved, that definitely like connected it, making it.
Murders too, right?
Do what?
Yeah.
Earlier in the class,
With like how the highways like changed it all.
Yeah.
Like it is worth noting how you were saying like that the Ford V8s were like their signature car, because like that's also like what they died in. So it all like was full circle.
Yeah.
He was known as like an amazing driver. I think that's how they got away most of the time, because they couldn't keep up with him.
But it's kind of cool when you think about it.
It is pretty cool, but I mean,
they have like cool little fun facts.
Yeah.
That is cool, but like he destroyed his wife's leg by driving off of a bridge.
Yeah.
That was kind of
crazy.
Yeah.
Were they ever legally married?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think
She
so.
was
She wore the
still
ring.
married
Yeah.
to the other
She
guy.
was.
Yeah.
She's still married. Which just makes me think like more like, was her first relationship, like was she emotionally connected to him? And maybe like a reason why she was so attracted to Clyde was because he never left her, like her first one had.
Yeah.
So
And,
maybe
like he has similarities, but he stayed with her.
he betrayed her, but Clyde never did. So maybe that was just like another attraction, that she still loved her first husband, but Clyde never left her.
Yeah.
So I do think that's interesting to look at.
I also feel like it could be like a combination of like they're in so deep now. Where is she gonna go? Like they've killed people. They've killed multiple police officers now. Stolen so many things. Like
They've
done a
made their
bunch
own
of
life.
horrible stuff. Like
Yeah, they can't go back now.
Especially because like the gang was so close and like they were all like family. Like one person couldn't really leave.
their family was supporting the crimes, and then another thing supporting it was like how they were treated by the police officers when they did go to jail. I think that was even a more factor of like, okay, well now we have to keep doing this because if we stop, we're going to jail, and it's going to be exactly how like it was for him when he was back at the.
Yeah, it's like motivation for them.
Yeah.
Which I think is so interesting, like how they got caught. It was betrayal from the person in their group. It was Henry Methvin, who was a gang member. His father secretly made a deal with law enforcement that like
they were going to like a family reunion, right?
yeah, it was something, and it was if you don't arrest my son, you can have everybody else.
Yeah, that's like another example of like how his father like helped like kind of cover it up for his own son. Like he turned into other people so that like his son wouldn't have to have the consequences.
Which just goes back to like when Clyde's mother bailed him out of jail. You know what I mean? Like how far are you willing to go to protect your children or like family members?
Yeah, because everyone was going through so much, including his family for being like so dirt poor, and then getting checks in the mail from him by just doing robberies and stuff. Because I remember they got a bunch of money when he got the $33,000 from that. It said they had robbed a First National Bank in Minnesota, which is what they did. And then they got the $33K, and he had sent his family like a good amount of money, and they like were eating amazing after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming that obviously added to it.
Sadly, because I'm kind of like, you know how you root for the criminals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Including
Like
like
the
ones like
underdogs?
these. Yeah. Sadly, it was May 23rd, 1934 was when the ambush happened. And they were caught. It was in Benville Parish, Louisiana. They stopped to pick up Henry Methvin, and it was what he looked like his truck had been like messed up or something. But 6 officers were waiting in ambush. And as Clyde slowed down his car to help the cops open fire without warning or anything, because they knew that they weren't going to turn themselves in, like they were going to die trying type of thing.
And like they couldn't even like grab their guns. They just like died automatically.
Yeah. Which
It was just them in the car, right?
it was.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Which is
those cops were dedicated to
It was overkill.
Yeah,
It was
because
so-
they were cop killers.
it was
so they
insane.
were like passionate about
It
that.
was
What I read was the cops, they hid in the bushes on May 21st.
really, and they stayed there.
And they stayed there thinking they were going to come through on the 22nd. And just as they were getting ready to leave on the 23rd, Bonnie and Clyde came rolling down the road.
That's
Wow.
crazy. And I know,
So
like
they were dedicated.
it was such overkill. It was 170 rounds were fired. 50 plus bullets struck the car. 20 to 25 hit Bonnie. 15 to 20 hit Clyde. And Bonnie was 23. Clyde was age 25. So it just shows like how motivated the cops were to killing these people.
I'm assuming they both probably died on impact, right?
Oh,
Like right when they were shot.
Clyde.
I read that they died like
Well,
in a
Clyde was a
second.
headshot. He died instantly. But I remember the report
And he was driving,
saying,
so.
And I remember the report saying, like, as they were shooting Bonnie, you could hear her screaming.
Oh wow.
So they didn't kill her instantly.
That's crazy. Which I've seen the car at Las Vegas.
There's so many bullet holes
Oh,
in it.
it's
so many.
it's
They
insane.
got like 130.
Oh, it was crazy. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
that's wild.
Yeah.
You
It
saw
just
it in
looks like,
person?
huh?
You saw it in person?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Do you think they deserved that for how many cops they killed, or like how do you think it should have been?
Well, it was definitely like a personal thing now, since they had killed so many.
It was
You know what I
definitely
mean?
overkill.
'Cause
And
they
the cops
consider-
were getting criticized a lot in the media,
Yeah.
or like newspapers and stuff, that they couldn't kill him. So I think,
It was also like a
all
look
right,
at this now.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
here we go type of thing.
And like they haven't really had like that many chances to kill them because like Bonnie and Clyde kept escaping. So like
Yeah.
this was kind of like their only chance to
Yeah.
Like, they wanted
end
to
it
make
for
sure
good. Yeah.
they were dead.
Or every time they got close, they'd try to arrest them, but they'd escape. So it was like, all right, we're not gonna try anymore. We're just gonna go
Yeah.
for it. We're just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Because like they said, which I don't think they would have turned themselves in. I think they would have died trying.
yeah. I don't think they would have ever turned themselves
Yeah.
in.
I think after like that traumatic prison
Clyde's never going
experience,
back.
Clyde would never go back. Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
But the FBI wasn't even like the people that
I don't
took
think
out
so.
this part. See, like if they kept going and escaped these people, I think the FBI probably would have gotten involved like heavily,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and they probably wouldn't have made it far at all.
No.
Once
Which
it got to a certain extent.
I mean, nowadays, if Bonnie and Clyde were happening now, they wouldn't have gotten nearly.
Yeah.
Like
They probably would have gotten rid
nowadays.
of one.
Yeah.
Because-
Nowadays, you can't take a piece of bubble gum without the police tracking you down.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine they wouldn't have even gotten this far.
Because like just a couple years later is when they started putting radios in the cop cars.
Yeah.
They were like Pretty Boy Floyd and other people like that. Dillinger. It didn't take but like 2 months after that.
Yeah.
They were done.
Yeah, and I think just like their like way of life and their crimes and everything, like they weren't gonna like live to an old age. Like I think they were gonna die soon anyway.
Yeah.
Well, because Clyde had dealt with health problems when he got sick. He got like a disease when he was 7 years old and got over it. But I think he dealt with health problems for that. And then Bonnie obviously had that super bad leg injury from him driving 70 miles an hour and driving off of a bridge.
Yeah.
So.
And then with Clyde, when he cut his 2 toes off in prison, they said he had a limp afterwards.
yeah.
And so he
They
was
matched
limited
limps.
in mobility too.
Yeah, right.
Twins. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. Like, kind of just that mentality. Like, well, we can't go back to normal hood type of thing. Like, this is it or nothing. You know what I mean? You've gone too far over the line. Like, it's crime or nothing. So I think that just goes to show that they would have never turned themselves in. Like, they were gonna die trying.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the aftermath after they were shot is pretty interesting too.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
we learned about the murderabilia, like because you had crowds surrounding the cars, taking clothing,
There's a
shards of
picture.
glass, bullet casings.
People were trying to cut off their ears and body parts to take with them.
Really?
And they were taking pieces of the car. Like, they were it's a whole mob swarming this car.
So we'll put a picture in.
What that seems like the like newest or like the how close do you think of murderabilia do you think that gets to, like in time standpoint? Because we learned about it in like the 1960s for serial killers. This is in the 1930s and people are doing this.
I know people will love the Nazi memorabilia. Like, people love that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think people are so like interested with like kind of that lifestyle.
Yeah, especially because like they were so like romanticized by the media and everything. They were like celebrities.
Yeah, because they did become legends.
Yeah, Bonnie got what she wanted, which was just fame and like her name to be known. Because I know after they died, her poems became famous, so people read them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I got that in here to talk about. So when Bonnie died, she had 10 poems that were published. And one of them was called The Trail's End. It's also called The Story of Bonnie and Clyde. And it almost tells like the account of their death.
Which is so cool.
So like, I'm just gonna read a few of these. But one stanza is like, they called them cold-blooded killers. They said they were heartless and mean. But I say this with pride, that I once knew Clyde when he was honest, upright, and clean. To me, that's interesting because he was in and out of prison before they even met.
Yeah, it's like, how would you know him when he was honest and
But I do think, I think I could see that, like, when he first went to prison, like, she knew him before he went to that bad, like, the bad area.
Oh, yeah.
So I do think he was, like, clean, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't a truly violent, mean person. So I do think, like, I could kind of see that. And then after prison, he wasn't the same.
Yeah, I
and
read
it was
something.
like out of necessity at first, and then he was like
Doing it because.
Yeah.
I
It was
do.
like he went in as like a schoolboy and then came out. I think it said like a rattlesnake or something like that.
So I do think that kind of like reflects that for sure.
And then I think Bonnie knew how famous they were too. Because like this one says, if a policeman was killed in Dallas and they have no clue or guide, if they can't find a fiend, they just wipe their slate clean and hang it on Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh yeah, they were getting pinned.
They were getting pinned for stuff they didn't do.
So I feel like that just like creates more motive for the police to like get rid of them because they probably were like accused of 10 times the amount than they actually committed.
And for them, it shows them that like if they were to stop, it doesn't matter. Like they're still gonna be getting
their reputation.
Yeah, it's like everything's on them now. So
And then like we talked about how their crimes were to try and make up for their poor conditions. And like we were talking about the apartment shootout. And she read in this line, if they act like citizens and they try to act like citizens and rent them a nice little flat, about the third night they're invited to fight by a sub-gun's rat-tat-tat. And Clyde used a M1980 bar, which is a machine gun.
oh yeah, the bar. Yeah.
Which I think that's a reference to their shootout
Oh yeah,
that they were in.
which is really interesting. Like they kind of knew how it was gonna end.
Yeah,
Like regardless of when, they knew it was gonna happen.
it's still like full circle.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
And then she kind of foretold their own deaths. It says they don't think they're too smart or desperate. They know that the law always wins. They've been shot at before, but they do not ignore that death is the wages of sin. Someday they'll go down together. They'll bury them side by side. To few it'll be grief, to the law a relief, but it's the death of Bonnie and Clyde.
She was good at writing.
Yeah, she was.
That's
good at
really
writing.
good.
Like that's like all true.
Yeah.
Like it's very
Yeah,
insightful.
She pretty much told it exactly
aware.
how it happened.
Yeah, the only thing was they actually were not
They
very
were not married side by side.
No, because her mother disapproved of the marriage like from the get go because she knew he was like a bad man, which I think is interesting because her first husband was also like not a
Yeah,
great man.
and her mom was like preparing for them to have kids with her first husband.
Yeah,
her first husband
so it
was
was
doing
like-
crime, super drunk.
And he was abusive to her.
Yeah, it was kind of like well, he probably just had more money. That was what it was.
Well,
You
they were
know
like
what I mean?
16. I can't even imagine that.
Oh no,
Yeah, right.
but no, it was a different time though. But yeah, her mother didn't want them buried side by side, so I don't know where they're buried, but I'd be interested to go look at their graves.
I
I
would
think they're
too.
both buried in Dallas,
Probably.
just not together.
Hmm.
But what's interesting to me is, like, years later, her niece tried to get them buried side by side. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, there's no proof that that's what she wanted. To me, the proof's right here.
Oh
Yeah,
the,
I agree.
the proof is in the pudding, right there.
I read he hated drinking too, and she loved drinking.
Which is interesting.
It's interesting because her like other husband was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
so
And she
she
despised it for that.
Because you usually find like when you're married or your parents are married to an alcoholic, they disprove of that.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
like how it is.
I know that he didn't like drinking because he liked things under control, which is ironic since all of their crimes and stuff were not planned whatsoever, and it was just very sporadic on like stealing cars and stuff.
Yeah, like they were so unorganized and like weren't like really successful ever. It's romanticized so much though with like the movies that have been made, the songs, like the books and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of became like a story.
But
yeah.
that's what she wanted. So
Yeah.
was that his end goal though? Like, do you guys think that was his end goal, or do you think he cared about the fame? I don't think he cared about it.
I feel like he just wanted people to fear his name.
Me too.
Yeah.
He wanted like revenge for his like
Yeah.
trauma.
And I do think he got that. So I think they both got what they wanted in the end.
Mhm.
I think he killed law enforcement. He wanted people to fear his name. I feel like people did at that time fear his name. So I feel like they both kind of got what they succeeded at what they wanted.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this wraps up our podcast, our conclusion. Any last words, guys? No, I'm gonna say us no. All right, thank you for joining us on today's podcast episode. We will probably not see you next time. Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Yay!